Good evening everyone and welcome back to another Black Lodge Ramblings. It's been a while, to be fair, since I've been stood behind the bar in the Black Lodge. I have done a few live streams recently and I've been sat just over there with the bar behind me. But it's nice to be back behind it. We're in the full swing of the festivities. Countdown to Christmas is on. I've been kind of thinking about stuff that I've wanted to chat about for a while, and I might do a couple of these over the next week. I thought tonight the kind of obvious one to discuss would be gifting. So I did a great whiskey tube, if I do say so myself. I did a great whiskey tube with the women from the Grail, Jen and Rachel, and with Vin PF from No Nonsense Whisky, where we did a bit of a whiskey tube gifting challenge, because we're always asked, well, what gift would you get or what would you do, and kind of made categories around that. So if you've not watched that, do go and find it on the channel. It's under live sometimes, but you should be able to find it on my page easy enough. Feedback's been fantastic, I really enjoyed it. But it got me thinking, because one of the points of conversation that came up was around price point and how difficult it is to buy whiskey at the moment, with like under certain brackets and that. But we're coming at it as whiskey enthusiasts, and our point of view of what we want to buy and what's cheap and what's not is very different to anyone out there that are now buying whiskey as a gift. And I do say that like in general terms. One of my latest videos I put up is the supermarket rundown of everything that's on offer in supermarkets at the moment. You can see the same bottles coming up time and time again at the same price point. So the reality is that's probably what a lot of people will be gifted who like whiskey. Now, I'm going to come at this kind of ramblings tonight from the viewpoint of someone. What if someone got some whiskey at Christmas and went, I don't know much about whiskey, I want to get into it. Is this good whiskey or is this bad whiskey? Because I think sometimes we can be a little bit too harsh on, I don't want to call it entry level whiskey, but whiskey that's there, that's readily available, that's well known, and that people are likely to get. Now, my thinking behind all this is because Jeffrey Bezos, Mr. Bezos' Amazon empire, has had quite a few whiskey deals on at the moment. Some real bargains have been found, and I've found myself just buying them because, to be honest, I don't have any of those entry level base whiskies. And I thought I'm going to crack open a couple on the video this evening. I'm going to have a can of Guinness, I'm going to do that, and we'll just chat through it and my thoughts. So hopefully you'll enjoy. Now I'm stood, and I really need to get the Black Lodge tidied. It's a bit of a disaster zone at the moment, but I've got this week to sort it out. What I'm going to cut in right now, while I pour myself this can, is the last time, well, she's a gusher, is the last time that I poured a can in here, and there was a big, elaborate sequence that never had the desired result, but enjoy. Hello and welcome to the Black Lodge. For something a little bit different, I thought, come down, we're going to do a little bit of Black Lodge ramble as I put away all of these glasses that I've came down. I've got a bit of tidying up to do. As you may be able to see, there's some cracking bottles. I've also got myself some cans. Being the first week of December, I thought we'll do a wee Guinness. Let's get that cracked open. God almighty. So we'll get that. Place is a bit of, I wouldn't call it a tip, but it's been cleaner. It's been cleaner. Toucan Guinness glass. I hope everybody's been doing alright. This is probably a controversial way to pour this, to be fair. It's a pint glass as well, so it's going to be a horrible looking pint because the can isn't a pint. Oh, God almighty. Right, we'll get to there and we'll leave a wee bit in. But it's not too cold, so it should be okay. So what's been happening? We've not done a Black Lodge ramble for a while. I was going to set up the tripod and that, but because I was moving about, I thought I'd show you what I'm doing. Have a Guinness. I'm going to pour myself a wee smoky number. I think I'm going to go for Vin, No Nonsense Whiskies, Glasgow. Where is it? This one here. The Glasgow, I'm going to put it down and just turn the camera. The peated Pedro Jimenez Sherry Cask, whopping 60.1, but the wind blowing like mad outside. That looks alright. Let's see. This is the content you'll come for whiskey wise, isn't it? Watching me pour a terrible pint. That is horrendous. I do have smaller glasses, I just don't know where they are. Cheers. That is not hitting the spot at all. Nah, we need to do something about that. Thursday night. I know what I can do. Give me a second.
So what country are you guys going to? Cheers.
Might be out on the Saturday night and someone would suggest let's just fly to Berlin and we'll come back on the Wednesday. Be like, no fucking problem. Then they replaced it with a flight to fucking Manchester.
You can fly to Manchester.
South trip on their ass.
Yeah, but he's done well, you've got to respect it.
There was more
To make sure they can have the
Yes. I know your face, I was like,
Good morning. I have woken up. It's 9 AM. I can't tell if the power's cut or not. I think it is. I have no signal on my phone. This is very, very strange. That is mental. So the latest update is there's no power in Dingle. There's no internet in Dingle. We don't know how we're going to get home. We don't know if we can get home. Yeah. Welcome to Purgatory. Surely it's like that's it there. That's what powers it all. Oh well.
We kind of want to stay, but we don't at the same time.
I know.
But
I
we
know.
just like to know.
Exactly, if it's not going, then it's not your fault.
Yeah, then we can have fun.
Yeah.
One critical question.
Uh-huh.
If the electricity doesn't come back,
we don't know what advice in your head, it probably gets cancelled. But we can't do anything, so everything's out.
We have to sit in the dark.
But I mean, like, even that, I'd have thought, if we go to the airport and he drops us off, flight is cancelled, then what do we do then?
TV's working for the footy. No, there's nothing. So that was meant to end with the adventures in Dingle and then going to the Dingle distillery. As I mentioned in the previous video, that fell to the wayside because of Storm Daragh and the power cut that happened, which meant the distillery couldn't open, which meant I couldn't contact anyone. That meant we didn't know if we were getting home or not. Spoiler, we did get home okay, but it was going to be great and it never happened. So, cheers. Now, first up, we're talking about gifting. People will get gift sets for Christmas, and give or take, as long as there's no whiskey stones, which way back when I first started doing this channel, I had a rant about whiskey stones, and fair play, once you're gifted them once, you get gifted them. They're like gremlins. Second they get wet, they multiply. The gift sets, and I showed them in the supermarket, you can get the little gift sets with little mugs or glasses or cups or tasting sets. Fantastic. Get people in the door. Or if somebody saw it for me and was like, oh, I got you this little taster set of 3 different whiskies. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. No issue with them. I saw this on Amazon for £22, and so I basically pulled the trigger. It's a Singleton 12 with 2 glasses. It was £22. £22. Now, I'll have people on the other end of this going, aye, no wonder it was £22. Look, the Singleton has its place, and it's a very fine place. Now, if you don't know much about Singleton, it is a collection, let's call it a collection of distilleries. It is not a single distillery. One of them is Glendullan, one of them is Glen Ord, but they put it out under this. It's Dufftown. On this one it says Dufftown Distillery, so maybe it is Dufftown now. But they've kind of went back and forward a few times. It's a lovely bottle. Like that's a nice bottle to be gifted. And let's keep coming back to that. To be gifted. If you're new to whiskey, you don't know anything, this is like a wee step up in the world, the whiskey world. If you're used to bottle of Chivas, or maybe it's a Johnny Walker, or maybe it's Bell's, or maybe it's Grouse, or maybe you've just said, hey, I want to get into whiskey, can you get me a bottle of whiskey for my Christmas? I think what happens in the whiskey world is we forget price point. We see cheap bottles as like £40 to £60, £35. I would say the average punter, 20 quid. And it's price promotion, it's whatever's on promotion pushes the sale. And you can see that when you look into the stats of who the biggest whiskey brands are in terms of sales in the UK, because it's supermarket whiskey, it's whiskey that's easily available. So Singleton 12 can be bought in the supermarkets. It was on all the shelves. You have this, and you have the malt master, malt harvest, malt something variant. I'll put it up what it is. But I thought, lovely wee bottle. And then within that as well, remember, we're getting 2 decent glasses, to be fair. Let me see. Oh, listen to that. ASMR at its finest going on tonight in here. Try not to smash the glass. That's a decent wee tumbler. Like, again, we're forgetting that we're not... I'll get the other one out as well, eh? If people are coming in fresh, like, it gives them a bit of ceremony, gives them a little bit of occasion to do it. Like, who am I to argue with that? Like, it's great. Get them in the door. You know, like that's what we want to do. Can't you all be doing like, I get Capitas, and I've got mini Glencairns, and I've got tumblers, and I've got, you get there. But let's say they're coming in the door. Maybe they get a Glencairn as a gift as well. Fantastic. It's a nice tumbler. It's an occasion tumbler, you know, built for ice or whatever. And if they want to put ice in it, let them put ice in it. Remember, these are my rambles. So everything's stream of consciousness. Now I'm going to open this up because I have been quite curious. I know Roy Aquavites had some recently on one of his V-pubs. And he was saying that actually it's quite a pleasant sipper. And again, we get bogged down. We get so hung up in our snobbery. Do it again. Let's see. There we go. We pour. Let's see what we get on the nose. Really light. Really fresh. Now the tasting notes in the back. It's whiskey from both Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso seasoned casks. Refill ex-bourbon casks have been hand-selected for their honey notes and nutty intensity. The taste is a high activity full of soft cooked apples, luscious brown sugar, hints of creamy coffee and roasted nutty notes. This is ambrosial decadence worth savouring. God, talk about big yourself up. There's more to that. There's more to that mouthfeel off the bat than other 40%ers I've had recently. So I will give them that. That is 40%, isn't it? Yeah, 40%. It's not the most complex, but there's stuff going on. There's the sweetness, there's nuttiness, there's honey. The notes are right, and I can see why Diageo are making a push on Singleton, especially amongst food and stuff like that. It's, for us, it's no complex. And I say us as whiskey enthusiasts. If you're new and you're watching this, this is a good starting point. I wouldn't say no to this. Like, it's not a bad drop at all. I've had far worse. And you look at it in the glass, I know legs. So if you're new to whiskey, people can get obsessed with it. Like, it doesn't mean anything, really. But there's a viscosity to that. Like, look, it's not thin. And there's a body in there. Now I'm going to leave that in the glass because that's the neck pour. That's just freshly opened. Probably stick it. Let's stick it behind me now. On the glass. Shelf. But I like, and I'm not shilling for Singleton or anything like that, I'm not doing that. It's literally because I was curious about it myself, and for £22, it's a bargain with the 2 wee glasses. And if I have people come round who maybe don't like whiskey and I want to maybe give them a whiskey that'll be their palate, normally I'd go for like a Compass Box, Orchard House, or something really sweet. That'd be a good, like a Drambuie type vibe, like a liqueur-y after dinner type thing. And I bet you it's lovely with ice. I bet you it goes really easy. I'm quite, I don't know if shock's the word, but I'm impressed enough for 22 quid. That's great. As I said, there's no prep in this. You're getting a live download of my thoughts right now. But obviously there's loads of whiskies on sale at the moment, so Singleton is one of many. And we can be too harsh when people come in, I think, and we can all be guilty of going a bit too hardcore on chill filtration and natural colour and all that, and we're allowed to. I'm not saying that's wrong. What I think we have to bear in mind is when people who don't know about this stuff come in, let's not put them off. Let's not overload them with information and tell them that the whiskey that they have at home isn't good enough or should be better. Let's embrace them, that they're coming in. Let's do everything we can to keep them because I think we need more and more drinkers. I think we're seeing a really tough year, the tail end of it. We're starting to see distilleries close, we're starting to see retailers close, we are starting to see sales, a lot of sales. We are seeing commodity brands, let's call them, discounted, which a year ago, 2 years ago, unheard of. So we need this fresh blood to come in, and I say that we as a community, and I say that we as the whiskey world in general. I think America does a really good job of this. They are not precious, not at all. You go, you like bourbon, great, have it neat. You don't like it neat, have it with ice. You don't like it with ice, mix it. You don't like it mixed, have it in a cocktail. You like it now, buy a bottle. And they get you every time, they find a way. And I think sometimes we're a bit too precious around that. And so I would like us as a community to be more open-minded. Open-minded is probably the word. We can all have our preferences, and we all do, and we can all spout them at our whiskey clubs and our whiskey shows and our YouTube channels and our podcasts and everything like that, and we do. But I think sometimes we need to remember who's listening as well, and that's people that are maybe on the edges, who are maybe a bit hesitant to come in. It's an intimidating place, the world of whiskey, and it's not cheap. It's not a cheap world to get into, so let's not disparage people when they do get in. That's a bit of a rant over. But aye, that's why this has been on my mind for a wee while. I remember seeing a video of a bottle that shall remain nameless, and I was excited to get the bottle. And this was years ago. And I watched the video because I wanted validation. I wanted to know that this bottle was a good bottle. And I had to sit through just 12 minutes of somebody tearing it to pieces. And it made me feel silly. And I remember that was a good few years ago, and that's always stuck with me. And people might not remember what you say, but they remember how you make them feel. And so I think we need to just be more welcoming with that. Preach, you know. Anyway, second bottle. I bought another one on this Amazon deal that's been gifted, and I know people are gifting it to send it to some mates. Start of the holiday season, let's call it November. I said, do you want me to send you links? If anything comes up, do you want me to send you some whiskey links if you need to buy gifts for friends and family? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. These aren't whiskey drinkers. And I sent a link, and a couple of them bought this, as did I, because I thought it was a very good price. I think it was £32 this cost, and it's another Diageo special, Talisker, and it's a distiller's edition. I think this was 2022, 2023 maybe, does it say on it? But it is Amoroso seasoned American oak casks, double maturation, rich sweetness and spice brings depth to maritime peatiness. Now I like a Talisker. We all have our thoughts on what's happened with Talisker of late, the 18 and stuff, but this comes up 32 quid. You're talking cheaper than what the RRP is for the 10. And I thought, well, I think it normally goes for 60 quid. I thought, well, let's see, let's give it a wee go. And at the moment on Amazon, if you're watching in the UK, on Amazon at the moment, there are some just wild deals on a lot of Diageo stock. I think they're clearing the warehouse out maybe. So we've all been keeping an eye on it quite avidly to see what we can pick up. Let's do that closer to ease. There we go. Again, neck pour, so I'm not expecting amazing things. This will be interesting to contrast with that Singleton. Luckily no one in my immediate family are whiskey enthusiasts, because these would have been great gifts to give to them, so what better gift than gifting yourself? Right, instantly on the nose, very Taliskery, that hint of that kind of smokiness, brininess, but I think I could I call that out as Talisker? I think I could. It smells like a Talisker. Why? Now this is 45.8%. Definitely more to it than the Singleton. A lot more smoky, sweet. That Amoroso, I don't even know what that is. What is Amoroso, does it say? Again, it's Amoroso seasoned casks. Doesn't tell me what Amoroso is. I will look it up, don't worry. But see, you're allowed to know everything. Part of my point. If you're new to whiskey, you don't need to know everything. Like, I've got a whiskey channel. I don't know what that means. I know Lorenzo Amoroso. Loved a Bailey's, so he did, Lorenzo. Probably still does. That is... Try to find words. Again, there's a viscosity to it. There's a sweetness, it's easy, it's smoky. I'm getting a wee bit kind of, not peat blind, but peat doesn't have the same punch it used to for me. I'm going to try it against the Singleton. You definitely get more of a honey nuttedness on the Singleton. As they said, I feel like that's been through quite a lot of committees to land on those tasting notes because they're quite spot on, but almost liqueur-y. Again, liqueur-y. There's a richness to it and a depth, which I'm shocked by, because I don't know if it's the sweetness, but it's syrupy. That's a great time of year Christmas dram to get. You don't need it doesn't always need to be the fanciest, biggest, punchiest. Immediately that feels thinner. Immediately. The Singleton. But that's fine. That's fine. It's not the point. We're not doing a taste test and burn them up. But my point is, you've got here, there's 2 bottles that I reckon if I polled, let's see, 20 people in the whiskey world that I know, and let's call them drinkers, not in the whiskey, like the whiskey sphere, but whiskey drinkers, I think you get maybe like over 60% of those people, 70% would turn their nose up at the idea of those. And yet they're just really pleasant. They are really, really pleasant. That Talisker's lovely. And I think it goes well with the Guinness. Don't worry, we will move away from the Diageo products in a second. Fantastic. 32 quid, 22 quid, so you're paying, what, quick math, £54 for a gift set of that and a bottle of that. If you were lucky, maybe someone gets gifted those 2 things. Someone said, I like whiskey, or I want to like whiskey, get me involved. They've went online, their partners went online, their brothers went online, their aunts went online, their sisters went online, and they've said, I'll buy that and I'll buy that because it's been on Amazon offer. You're off to a flyer. You've got a smoky, you've got a light, fruity, honeyed, brilliant, and you've got some glasses. Fair play, welcome. Like, welcome in. There's plenty more. Like, there's plenty of stuff. There's plenty of stuff for us to be obsessive about, and there's plenty of stuff for the newbie to get involved in. And I think we lose sight. And I've remembered that I've got this down here. I got this another Diageo. But Kalila 12. That will be the next step for the newbie. They would never have heard of it, and then they'll get in. They'll join us in the whiskey sphere, and they'll see it everywhere. Every independent bottler. I think if I just go, hi, there we go, there's one right there, a North Star, Kalila, because of course, and all of a sudden they'll see Kalila everywhere, and then they'll stop buying Kalila because they'll get Kalila'd out, and then they'll come back to it and they'll go, Kalila's great, and they'll go on this journey of discovery and they'll find their lane, and maybe they will become super militant, and there can't be colouring, and it needs to be non-chill filtered, and it has to be cask strength, and it must be like hand pulled out the barrel into the bottle through a coffee, sieve and a coffee filter to get it perfect. Or maybe they'll just go, I like a whiskey, and they'll go into a pub and they'll order a couple of whiskies at the bar and they'll go, I know what that is, and I'll know what that is. And that's a win as well. You can see it's something I'm quite passionate about because I want people to get into this. I love this. This is great fun. So two decent, like, I'm really surprised. I keep picking up that Talisker, but that's Singleton. Great. If you're watching this somehow and you have no idea who I am or what I'm doing, and you're watching this to try and get gifting ideas, buy the Singleton for somebody. I don't think a whiskey drinker would knock that back, if I'm honest. I think that is absolutely fine, and there's a time and a place for it. Even if you're the biggest whiskey snob, there will be a time and a place you can drink that and enjoy it. Well done Singleton. Anyway, let's move on to a different one. I want to get away for the Diageo ones. What else could they be gifted? In my supermarket video, what I saw everywhere is Jack Daniels, and I was in Waitrose, and it was quite difficult to film because there was so many people in the whiskey aisle, which was really encouraging. And I say so many people, there was 4 people, it was quite narrow shelving, but it meant I couldn't quite go where I wanted to with the camera and not look weird, and I kept just pretending I was doing it for my dad to send to my wife for ideas. You just make stuff up, don't you, when you have to get the shot. But I found that there was something asked, oh, there's no Jack Daniels, can you do a stock check for that for me, please? Sent the woman away from Waitrose to check if there was any Jack Daniels number 7 left, and there was other belting bourbons there. Jack Daniels is a force of its own, right? It's a brand, it's a way of life, it is something that none of us can fathom. People get it tattooed, people have it on their cabin doors, people have it on their pool tables. It says this is who I am, and it's a societal marker of a brand. However, Jack Daniels do make good whiskey outside of number 7, because I think we can all agree, I'm not being a snob, I think number 7 is a great entry point if you really want to kind of step up, and you can step up really easily for less money than a bottle of Jack Daniels. I'm not going to say who, what, where on that, but I think in terms of that, if you're gifted a bottle of Jack Daniels and you want to get into whiskey, world's your oyster, because the palette that's available to you after years of Jack Daniels will blow your mind. Will blow your mind. Bourbon, unbelievable. I was at the bourbon tasting this week, and your palate jumps all over the place, and you think bourbon will just taste like sweet and whatever. Not at all. Same as Scotch. The lanes, I would say the lanes of bourbon are a little bit more narrow than Scotch, but that aside, encourage it. Like, if you know someone that likes bourbon and they like Jack Daniels, don't then go and jump up to some really high-end bourbon. Like, I'm trying to look over at I'm looking at my bourbon collection now, and I'm trying to see, like, you hit them with like a Stag or something like that. No, do the next step. Maybe do Bullet, maybe do Buffalo Trace, maybe do, if you want to be 30 quid, Eagle Rare. Just take them step by step. Don't make them take this giant leap. Let them discover something else, and they can move out. And I think it's the same with Scotch. We don't need them to go balls to the wall, cast strength, unchill filtered, natural colour, the whole shebang off the bat. We all have to dip our toes in somehow and get there. However, I'm saying all this, I fancy a really good dram. I've not had a good dram this week. I say that, I've had good drams. I want a Scotch, meaty, mighty, something a bit potent. I'm going to pause here. It's that one. I'm having a mare. I'm trying to move away for Diageo brands. I am absolutely obsessed at the moment with Benrinnes. This is Adelphi Benrinnes. It's just tickling an itch. I don't know if it's the time of year or whatever. It's just a lovely meaty, it's just a great spirit that I can't get enough of. goes for that. That's a bigger pour than those other two combined. But why not? Let's hold it there. Look at the colour on that. Like, it's just bloody. It's just a lovely dram. I've got coming. I ordered. I'll get this up. This will be up. You'll have time. Hunt online for the Signatory 100 Benrinnes. I think it's maybe a 13-year-old, 14-year-old. I paid £42 picking it up on Wednesday or Thursday. And a friend in the Whisky group that I'm in opened it and said it's unbelievable. 42 quid. This was a bit more expensive, but I got this a year and a bit ago. It's a gift from a friend. Just like that colour. You can very easily get from here to here in a short period of time. Financially, you're talking £28 I think this was, for the bottle alone, I saw in stores, to like 85. That's a jump, right? That's, amongst normal people, that's a big jump. There's room for it all. What there's not room for is us closing the doors and gatekeeping. I think 2025, what I really hope for is more openness and more willingness to do stuff that maybe people would have turned their nose up at before. And I think we're making progress. The blends are doing great. Everybody's loving the blends now, which maybe a year and a half ago wasn't the case. I'm not saying whisky community, whisky enthusiasts have to go down to here. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we have to welcome people in who turn around to us and say, I like X brand. I like this. And then rather going, you don't know anything. Once your palate's matured, you'll realise how crap that is or whatever. We should say, that's fantastic. Have you tried this? Let me let you try this. Let me recommend this. Let's just engage. Let's be nice people. We are nice people, but you know what I mean. So aye, we Black Lodge ramblings, warming up for a long old day. Football never went my way. We're going to do a video about Black Lodge rambling about celebratory whiskey and value points and that, but that'll come when I've got something to celebrate. That'll come later in the week. But the gifting one has been on my mind since. I think we're a great community when we want to be, and we can be a really harsh community when we want to be. And I think there's a nice middle ground that maybe we could do. If you see people on Instagram taking beautiful bottle shots and the bottles aren't opened, don't comment, open your bottles. Just say, nice shot, and move on. Like that. If we see someone drinking a whiskey or putting on a story, oh, I'm drinking this tonight, don't say, I had that, it's terrible. Just say, thumbs up. I don't really know how to finish this after that rant. I'm going to go back. Let's go, one final run. Fine, lovely, sweet, easy. Talisker. Oh, the smoke's went like an actual log fire now. My palate, I'm really impressed. I like that. I really like that. I'm going to show that to you guys one last time. If you can find that on the cheap, just get it. Would I pay more than 55 quid for it? No. 32 quid, an absolute no-brainer. And then wee Benrinnes from the good folks at Adelphi as well. Merry Christmas to you guys up there. .6%, tiny bit of heat. Oh, it's just lovely. It's meaty. It's There's a fruitiness to it, but it's a really dark fruit. There's a bit of boot polish, a bit of leather. Ah, it's great. Well, I'm trying to read if it says anything on it. Nah, I'm not getting anything off it. Don't tell me anything. Bye. Banger. Anyway, I've been here, you've been there. Guys, all the best. Merry Christmas. We've got more of these coming this week. God help me. Cheers. Oh. Slanger.